Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
This is Just Keep Breathing with your host, Richard Curtin on National Radio.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Curtin. This is Just Keep Breathing with RationalBroadcasting.com. Today, my very special guest in the studio is the Beyond Vanilla keynote speaker, the internationally renowned motivational speaker and pioneering adult film star, Buck Angel.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I'm going to say that again. The internationally renowned motivational speaker and pioneering adult film star, Buck Angel.
Ooh.
That's really hot. Has anyone ever introduced you like that?
No, that was actually really awesome.
Welcome to Dallas.
Thanks.
Welcome to Beyond Vanilla. And this is what, your third trip to Dallas?
My second trip, yes.
Second trip.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me, Daniel?
I can when you turn that way. I absolutely can.
You can hear me when I'm turning this way?
That's weird.
Maybe I'm just supposed to look into your
Maybe.
You are hot.
Oh, wow, thanks.
You really are. I mean, when Daniel and I were talking about you being a guest, I was like, oh. Do you get that a lot?
I guess, yeah. It's nice. It's a compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I've been watching you for several years, and the thing that really gets me is how confident you are, how open you are to speak about who and what you are, and how important it is for you to show people how important confidence in yourself is.
Yeah.
Is that why you're at Beyond Vanilla?
Oh, yeah, one of the reasons. When they asked me to be keynote, I was actually really honored because I am also, my personal life, I'm in the BDSM community, so I actually really love that community. And also, I really like what they do. They give a lot to great organizations, and they, do stuff like that, which is really important for me to donate my time in those kind of venues. So it was awesome. And coming to Dallas, I really enjoyed my time in Dallas last time I was here. People are really cool and down to earth here. Is it Texans or is it just Dallas?
I think it's Texans. Austin is the first city in Texas to back gay marriage.
Oh, wow.
So it really does kind of feel like Texas is changing a little.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more open, and especially in Austin. Austin has always been kind of
right.
a hippie little city, and so the ideas are changing here, and it's really good.
Yeah, no, it's great. I've met so many amazing people and just really had such a great time here.
We have something in common.
Uh-oh.
I've been saving this. Our childhood names are Susan.
No way! That's awesome.
When I was a young boy, I was Susan Moriarty.
Wow, really?
I was the illegitimate daughter of Kathy Moriarty.
Oh, no way!
Kathy Moriarty and some other not known actor, and I was given to my parents to raise so that she didn't have the stigma of having a bastard child.
Oh my God.
So your
is
childhood
awesome.
name was Susan.
Yeah.
How did you transition from Susan to Buck?
Yeah.
At such an early age?
Yeah.
Because you insisted.
Well, my parents raised me as a boy. I mean, actually, I just spoke with them the other day, like, when did you start calling me Buck? Because I didn't really realize it. And they were like, when you were 2, we remember. It was like, you were just a boy, and we just, and like, they just raised me as a boy, and it was never an issue. It was just like, it's cool, I'm a boy. And I think that's why I had such a great childhood. And I had, really not a lot of issues as a kid, and I was just, me. I was just Buck, and it was not really ever an issue. It was.
And so when you say kid, what's the age range?
Well, I mean, like I said, 2 and all the way up until like 16 when puberty hit was kind of when things went haywire. But like, of course there'd be times where we had to go to church or we had to go to family events and they wanted me to wear a dress, and I got mixed messages there, and I would throw little temper tantrums and, not go. But I would say the majority of the time I was just Buck, and it was never really an issue, except at school I had to be called Susan. So there were, those kind of things happening to me. But I always felt like a boy, and pretty much everyone treated me that way.
And that's interesting, and that's
Yeah.
in San Fernando.
San Fernando Valley. I was totally a Valley girl. I think that's going to be the name of my book. I was a Valley girl.
I was totally a valley guy. The Buck Angel story. And so that's a good transition to your documentary.
Yeah.
What is it called?
The one I just did right now, it's called Sexing the Trans Man. And I put together a documentary with, I had an idea because so many guys like me were having transition from female to male and starting to identify as gay men, where they never had sex with men before, they were never interested sexually in men before. You know, it's like, how is that possible, right? So I wanted to start talking to trans men about their sexuality and how the process of having a change affected their sexuality, because nobody ever talked about that before.
Right, and I think they're still not talking
They
about
don't.
it.
I'm the only one that talks about it, and I'm the only one that ever made a movie. My movie is the first really ever in the world that really talks to trans men about the change and how it's affected them sexually. That was God speaking to us.
What did he say?
He was like, hold on, wait a minute.
Maybe he was trying to tell us something about him being a trans man.
Totally.
So did you have issues where you were thinking that during your transition from female to male that you might be a gay man?
Well, yeah, my sexuality did sort of shift in a sense where I was only ever really attracted to women, and I only had sex with women. But it went through the testosterone and really coming into my own. And you know, my vision was always to look like Tom of Finland. That was, even though I didn't identify as a gay man, that idea of hyper-masculinity was such a turn-on for me, and like I wanted to look like that, right? Like, I mean, they're just gorgeous men. And so, you know, as my sort of coming into my own and working out and building myself up, and you know, hair started growing, and I was like, all of a sudden I did start kind of looking at men that way, and it was not comfortable for me at all. It was like, what's wrong with me? Wait, I couldn't tell anybody.
But was there a sexual attraction, or was it that I want to look like?
No, it was a sexual
It
attraction,
was.
which is a weird thing, because then I did this 20 years ago, and then, you know, there wasn't any guys like me really going to bars. But I have to tell you, when I started going to I went to leather bars, the men were so open and okay with me. They were the ones that really accepted me the most at the time, were the Leathermen and the Bears. And, you know, I would tell them about myself if we were going to do something, and most of the time back then they didn't want to have sex with me after they found out I had a vagina. It was not cool, which is fine. I don't want to have sex with someone that's not cool about it. But they wanted to hang out with me, and then as I became more comfortable, I could start they wanted to have sex with me. And so, but I don't consider myself a gay man. I'm married to a woman, but I consider myself like a sexual person. Like, it's more about a person. Like, if our sexual energy was cool, it's like, that's cool with me. Like, it's not like you're a dude or you're a chick. It's more about, do we have that sexual vibe?
Right. So you're married to a woman. And you have changed your birth certificate so that you are male.
Yes.
And you did that quite a while ago.
God, I think it's been more than 15 years ago, which obviously was before 9/11. I think they've made a lot of changes since 9/11. It's not as easy to do. Yeah, so if someone were to say something to me, it's like I have a birth certificate that says I was born male. So I am legally 110% male. Nobody could ever say anything to me about the fact that I'm a man with a vagina and you're not really a man.
So do you what were the requirements when you changed your birth certificate?
Yeah, back then I only had to have a sex reassignment surgery, but it was not defined for a female to male at that time. So my doctor who did my chest surgery just had to write a note to a letter to the government stating that, you know, Buck is definitely a man. I did this sex reassignment surgery. He didn't specifically say what that was, and that being a doctor, he's saying that yes, I should be able to change my gender, and that was all I needed. That was it.
And today, is it different?
I think it's different in a lot, and actually it varies from state to state. Not all states will actually change. Mine was like I was given a brand new birth certificate. Some states, I'm not familiar with the Texas law, will only amend your birth certificate. So they do. It's basically like crossing out, you know, the F and giving you an M, but people know that you used to be a female kind of thing. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about?
How do you feel about an amendment?
Well, yeah, I think it's a little bit strange. I don't know why they need to amend it and not give you a new one, because it's still kind of like, you know, poking you in the side. You're still always going to be a girl. We'll do this for you, right? Well, that's government. Government always has to have some control over us, right? It's a control thing, for sure.
I work with a lot of trans women.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel a part of that community?
Yeah, I have a ton of trans women friends. I mean, I love my trans women friends. Actually, even they were around when I was having my change. There wasn't really many trans men at the time, and they were always just like really cool about it. So yeah, I love my trans women friends. I have to tell you, I don't really feel like I'm part of one specific community. You know, I don't identify as a trans person, by the way. I identify as a man. I wanted to have what we used to call a sex change. So I'm old school. I had a sex change. You know, I'm OG.
Old buck. Back in the day.
Back in the day, we said sex change.
Let's talk about GLAAD.
Okay.
Since we're talking about trans women, you've come under a lot of pressure and heat to stop using the word tranny.
Sure, totally.
And a lot of people are mad at you because you refuse.
Yeah, they think I'm being disrespectful, blah, 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 you know, like, you know, here we go again with the words. It's the word police. You know, and I understand what they're saying. Like, they're trying to, like, say if I stop saying it, then we'll get the whole world to stop saying it. But I don't find it a derogatory statement. And they're telling me a word. And they're telling me that it is because it was never used derogatory against me. But I'm like, but do you know me? And do you know where I come from? You're just assuming, again, you know, that I had my change 20 years ago. People call me tranny a lot, you know, as a derogatory word many years ago. So yes, I am reclaiming that word, just like you're allowed to reclaim. Remember queer? Queer was a dirty word.
And now we've embraced it.
So how is it?
And we've added the Q.
Thank you. So I want to know why it's okay to reclaim that word, but it's not okay to reclaim that word. So they're not, you know what I mean? They're not wrapping their head around the whole thing. They're just zoning in. Plus, I have to tell you, the more public you become, the more of a target you become. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I have become more of a target as I become more of a public figure and I become more well known.
Do you feel that it has caused you to be more cautious with your words?
That's a great question, and I appreciate that question. And in a way, yes, and in a way, no. At first, yes, because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, and I wanted to be liked, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm about love and really spreading good positivity. And that said, then I realized, well, then if I do that, I'm sort of not being true to myself, which is also my message. And I would never say a word that somebody didn't like specifically to you. Like, I would not call you, like, a faggot if you didn't like that. And you were like, Buck, that's so disrespectful. Don't do that. I would be like, I totally apologize, dude. I would never do that to you again. But if it was just like we were hanging out and you were cool about it, then does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just like the kind of way kind of guy I am. But I would never do something if it felt like it was disrespectful to you specifically.
You're not going to use words with hate and malice.
I would never do that. And that is not why I use the word tranny, by the way.
What does tranny mean to you?
It's like a self-express. Again, I don't identify as a tranny, but it's like it's kind of funny to me in a way. And you know, I don't know. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but I'm saying it about myself. Like, you know, I'm just a tranny. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, making fun of myself. And I think I was telling you that earlier. I make fun of myself all the time. It's funny. A man with a vagina is funny.
Do you think it's funny? Really?
I think it's funny. I mean, I just picture it. And like somebody in the middle of like Nebraska, in the middle of some little town, a man with a vagina, like it's pretty whacked out.
So do you have? I know this has happened, but do you have people that come up to you and say, "Show it to me"?
Of course,
Show it to me.
constantly.
And how often do you do that?
It depends where I'm at and really kind of my mood for the day. But most of the time, I probably don't do it because it's a little weird. You know, who pulls their pants down like that? You know what I mean? Like, dude, pay for it.
Right, exactly.
That's my moneymaker.
BuckAngel.com. Go and run it.
Thank you.
Well, I watched one of your interviews with this German, Netherlands, Holland guy,
Right.
Jensen, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, by the time I was finished watching it, I was kind of mad at him.
Okay.
Because, you know, I was mad at him. I really
Why?
was, because I thought he treated you a little like the sideshow freak.
Yeah.
And then, oh, dude, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Right.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to sleep tonight because you've got your dick in your hand.
Totally.
Because you're hot.
Okay.
And I think he flipped it a little too much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But, you know, you have to understand, I get asked to do Howard Stern. I get asked to do all the, like, shock jock shows. And I take it because I know how to flip that situation. And,
Right.
and really, in a sense, he didn't really. I mean, he was trying, but he actually totally, after the show, was just like, wow, Buck, like, want to go have a drink? You're like, you're amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, it's all for show, and that's what their audience eats up.
Sure.
But for me, it's all about how I come across, and am I showing pride in myself, and, you know, that. And I think I did do that. Same with Howard Stern. I came off just like, even though they were like, blah, it's just like, dude, you can't. It just doesn't matter. You can try to make fun of me all you want, but
Yeah, because you're in on it.
exactly,
Exactly, and
exactly,
and that's probably why I wasn't so
Exactly,
mad.
exactly.
Is because you really were in on it, and you were
Yeah.
a part of it, and I don't think that you ever allowed it to go too far.
it won't ever go too far.
Because he said something. He kept on saying, wow, you're so masculine, and you kept on going, well, thank you, and
Like, Anne, can we talk about something else now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, how often do gay men hit on you?
Oh, constantly. Yeah, and I think that a lot of times they're kind of confused because when I walk down somewhere with my wife, and they're just like, oh, he doesn't know, right? And I'm thinking, you don't even know.
Yeah, it's you that doesn't know.
Look, I'm just a pig, man. If they had a box that you could check, gay, bi, straight, it's like, no, why don't they have the pig box? You know what I mean? Like, I'll just take everything. Why should I limit myself?
I do think that they have a pig box.
Oh, okay.
But I think that it's,
It's
really
kinda off
only,
to the side.
only in the gay world.
Right,
Yeah.
totally.
So let's talk about porn.
Okay.
How did you get started doing porn? I know that, and I think a lot of people that follow you know that you used to be a fashion model, and that was in the 80s when really androgyny was really at its height, and you were very androgynous
Very much.
and very girly.
Yes. Well, the pictures were very girly. The thing that kind of bums me out is I don't have any video from that time. Because I think you could see that I'm kind of the same person, and I was very kind of boyish and masculine. But when you put makeup on, it just became female.
Yeah, you just become more soft.
Yeah,
and
but I was not
precious and-
comfortable. Let me tell you, they had to pose me and give me another beer and a line of Coke. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, whoa, this is so weird. Like, it's like people really wanted me to be a model, and I was like, ew, this is so lame.
Well, and the things that you were modeling were very sexual.
Yeah. Yes. Most definitely.
And so even at that point in your career, it really was about sex.
Yes, and actually the thing is that even though I was never really sexually kind of like okay with my vagina at all, it was always like if I did something, it was always either in the dark or I never like dealt with it. Like I was always drunk or wasted. Like I still was a very sexual being. I've always been very sexual. I mean, I can't even remember being sort of like a chronic masturbator when I was like a little kid. Like I was always. Just sex was always on my mind, so it makes sense that I work in the porn world. Totally.
I played with my penis a lot when I was really young, and
Yeah.
in the grocery store, I wanted to show it to people.
That's awesome.
And I was really young, and I remember once my mother, yelling at me.
Right.
When we were looking at cereal,
Right.
and it's so vivid.
Yeah.
And she told me that people don't want to see your penis, and I thought,
Interesting.
why not?
Right.
It's so pretty.
Right.
Everybody should want to see my penis. And I was so confused. Well, why not?
I know.
Why not?
But that's how in America. If you were in Europe, it'd have been a different situation.
Right.
You know that. So in America, we're so weird about our bodies
Well,
and
my
our
mother
genitals.
was very sexual.
Oh, interesting.
And was not afraid to talk about it.
Right.
But I think her point was they don't want to see it in front of the cereal.
well,
at the
and
grocery
also
store.
in America, like also she knew that people would freak out if
Yeah.
her little kid was like, well, wanking off in the aisle.
Well, I wasn't wanking off. I just wanted people. I just
Touching
wanted to
it.
wiggle it for everybody. And so, do you remember? Being young, being a young boy, thinking, "I'm a young boy."
Mhm. Oh, totally. Yes, always.
At what age did
I
you?
mean, ever, always.
Forever.
Never did I ever think I was a girl. Ever did I think that. No. Even at school when people would call me a girl, I would get so mad and fight and beat up the boys. And, even though I was a girl, I was beating up the boys. That would shut them up immediately. Because, it's a girl beating up a boy. Like, I got very known for that. You don't mess with, You don't mess
Don't
with
mess
him.
with Bob.
Yeah.
Did people refer to you as a boy? Like,
Sometimes.
don't mess with him. But
No, she.
They did get
she.
the
Now with
they did
Susan,
get
I mean,
the gender right.
yeah, teachers couldn't be calling me Buck and he. Back then, it wasn't that progressive. Obviously, yeah, it was.
So let's go back then. You're 5, maybe 7. A lot of this is happening now where young children,
Yes.
5, 7 years old, are saying, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, and I want to start living as the opposite gender.
Right.
If you could go back to that particular time, would you take that opportunity?
That's such a great question, and I have mixed feelings about it. I can tell you right now, sitting in this chair at this moment, no, because I think it made me who I am. Really, I do. I use all of my baggage, all my horrible stuff that happened to me. I use it as a strengthening part of who I am today and be able to spread my message. That said, probably if that opportunity came, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. You know, it's like I can't really tell you because I don't. And the other thing is, I'm not really sure if it is okay. What does that mean for a child to have that change at 7? I think to live as a little boy is exactly what I did, and that's totally awesome, and I think it really helped me. But to actually maybe start taking hormones at 7, and I don't know enough about it, and I don't even think doctors know enough about it. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And I don't, again, mean any disrespect around it at all. It's just my own opinion that I'm not really sure what is that going to do. How do you know at 7? I mean, I knew at 7 that I was a boy. But not everybody specifically. There's tomboys, there's feminine boys, there's girls that feel like boys. I mean, there's so much of a variation, right?
Well, there was, in my particular case, there was so much confusion, being raised Catholic.
Yeah.
Being sort of a chosen child to be a priest.
Wow.
I was so messed up in my head because I knew I was homosexual.
Right.
And I think at some point, I thought this would be so much easier if I were a girl.
Right, clearly.
And so at some point, if I was given the opportunity, I may have taken it. But now as a 46-year-old man, I am so happy being a man.
Yes.
And I'm just really comfortable being the man that I am today.
Right.
And I am that man because of the things that I went through.
Exactly.
And so my fear is that a lot of these children are having these thoughts of, I'm a homosexual, not so much I'm a boy or I'm a girl.
Right.
I am not the norm.
Right.
And so it would be so much easier if I were the norm.
Right.
And then everyone around you is the norm.
Right.
So you'll fit in with everything around you.
And that's what the world wants us to do.
Correct.
And this is my message, not to fit into that. Even though some people will say that I have sort of, because I become a man, now I'm just sort of like, but no, did you forget about the vagina? I didn't check that box specifically. I just chose to be this kind of man. So you're right. We need to have that fluidity. Not everyone who's a feminine man is a gay man. Not everyone who's a butch woman is a gay woman. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
That does not define who you are.
Right.
It's just part of how your character is. So I'm not sure, is that 7-year-old boy who wants to play with girl toys and that necessarily a girl? Or is he just a feminine boy, right? Yeah, totally.
Does he just, like...
Right. To play with girl
Dress
toys.
girls up.
Right. Is he just going to be a big fashion designer when he gets older?
Absolutely. And there's been several fashion designers that I've thought, you can't possibly be straight.
Right.
But yet you've got 19 children.
Right.
So apparently
Yes.
something's going on.
Definitely.
And who am I?
Right, exactly. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean-
I certainly can't say what you like, and you can't certainly say what I like.
Right.
However, you are hot.
Throw that in there.
Porn. How did
The
you
dirty
start?
word.
Really? How did you? Do you think it's a dirty word?
I don't. I think it's an amazing word. I love
I think
it.
it's an important word.
Yes, the
And-
world. I want the world. America. Here we go again. They think it's a dirty word.
Do they?
Oh, totally. They're so anti-porn in this country. It's ridiculous.
But everybody's got it on
But
their
everybody
computers.
watches it. Everybody, wants to be
Everybody's got
part
it
of it.
downloaded, and
Totally. But it's a dirty word. It's a dirty secret.
And don't you think everybody at some point wants to be a porn star?
Oh, sure. It's like the kind of like dirty secret. You know what I mean? Like, ooh. I mean, come on. Porn wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar industry. Someone's watching it. It's not just us here.
Are you the only one doing what you're doing?
Pretty much. I have to tell you, I'm the one who started it. There's a couple small companies in San Francisco, but they're very small, kind of just their own kind of thing. But yeah, I'm pretty much the guy I'm the leader, the world leader in trans male porn for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I started a new my Sexing the Trans Man documentary. I also started a triple X version of that called Sexing the Trans Man Triple X, and that is basically the same idea. I call it docu-porn, and it's something that has never been done before. And I interview trans men and talk about their surgeries and how they feel sexually, and I have them kind of take their clothes off and talk about their surgeries, and then I have them get naked, and then I have them jack off for the camera and have orgasms, and it won awards, and it just like really took off because it's sort of you get to know this guy before you sort of maybe are interested in him sexually, so it kind of gets you to know him in this kind of intimate way.
How many of these men have had, I want to get the word right, phalloplasty? None.
And
Okay.
not because excuse me, not because I'm against it. And some people will tell you that I am against what we also call bottom surgery or the penis surgery. I am far from against it. I just am obviously very freed with myself, and I don't feel that it's necessary for everybody. And I'm giving you that option and telling you you do not have to have the penis to make you a man. So it's cool that, if you want to keep your vagina, go right ahead. It doesn't make you any. That's my message. If you want to get the phalloplasty, you go for it, dude. But so I would love to have a guy like that in one of my movies, but I haven't found any guy that's willing to do it.
Do you feel as though at this point in medicine that you're kind of ripped by phalloplasty? As in maybe gypped a little? Because really they haven't, they really haven't gotten it right.
Well, again, this is my opinion. Who's ever listening out there, and you're gonna try to rip me a new one right now because it's gonna sound like I'm anti. I'm not anti. What it is this: when I talk about it, it's about myself, and also you have to understand. I looked at getting that surgery 20 years ago, and I don't think it's advanced quite nearly the way it should have advanced in 20 years, and that's shameful. And if I was gonna get that surgery, I would be not very happy with the fact that they haven't progressed it enough to be, the functioning penis that it should be. I don't do a lot of research on it because I don't really need to put my time and energy into it because I don't want to get it. If you want to get it, you put your time and energy into looking for it and you promote it. Do you know what I mean? I promote vagina. That's what I do because that's what my thing. So I'm not really promoting the phalloplasty because it's not something that I feel passionate about. I feel passionate about being in love with your body.
Your top surgery,
Mm-hmm.
you have no scarring.
No, and I had an amazing surgeon. Number one. Number two, I was small-breasted. So if you're a big-breasted guy and you're going to get that, most of the time you're going to have scars. And I really did my research, and I really went to 10 different surgeons who were all very rude, disrespectful to me, telling me, dude, it doesn't matter, you're going to have scars, that's just the way it is. You want to do it, And I was like, wow, I feel so violated right now.
Did you feel sort of like a slab of meat?
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
then
we're going to cut you and we're going to take off this piece of meat. And you can just take what
There
you
were no
get.
surgeons back then. Again, I did it way before it's the way it is now. And so I finally found a guy who in UCLA Medical Center in Beverly Hills and California, and I was his first trans man, and he had just learned the new surgery, which is called the keyhole, and I was his first trans male patient. And he said, "Don't worry, Buck, I'm going to do you up." And he did me up.
And
Amazing man.
He did.
His name is Dr. Alter, Gary Alter.
I have a few trans men
Uh-huh.
in my life, and they're sort of, on the periphery.
Uh-huh.
Mine are generally trans women,
Uh-huh.
and I tell them all the time, you cannot become a woman overnight.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to become a man overnight,
Right.
so why would you expect to become a woman overnight? And I tell them all the time, do your research and find out what is right for you.
Thank you.
Is that part of your message?
Completely. And what does it mean to be a man for you? Now there's a new movement called trans. You know what I'm saying? Like, people call themselves trans. To me, that's completely different than where I came from. Like I said before, I'm old school. I'm a transsexual man. I was a woman who wanted to become a man, and that was always my goal, and that's how I live my life. Now there's a trans movement. These people don't necessarily want to identify with being a man or a woman. That's totally different than, but it is my message.
Yeah.
Be what you want to be.
Yeah.
Don't let the world define. Do not let your community define you, because they will. the trans community is very adamant in saying this is the way you have to be this and this and this. And I find that really insulting because we're all individuals and diversity is what makes our world so amazing. So don't lock everybody into this community standard of how you need to be. It's ridiculous.
It is, and I know a lot of men who play as women.
Yeah, of course.
And I know a lot of them who
Sure.
play as women, and and some of them I think are a little tortured by it.
Because you think that they're actually really trans people, or
Yeah.
and they don't know how to deal with
And
that.
they don't know how to do it, and they don't, and they don't know how, because
Right.
there's a lot of pressure,
Oh yeah.
and
there
as
is.
you know, and so what is your advice to some of these people?
Yeah, I just got back from the Southern Comfort Conference in Atlanta, which has a lot of guys like that. I think more cross-dressers or even trans women, but they work in the corporate world, so they cannot become trans women.
Right.
I'm just like, my heart just like fell. I feel bad for them because they just can't. They have kids, they have a family, they can't, they go to these events to be their woman they are, but they have to go back to real life, and I know they're tortured by it.
Yeah.
The only advice I could give somebody like that is you have to follow your heart, and what's the most important thing for you in the world? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to get to be 80 years old and be like, damn, I wish I would have done that? Are you unhappy with life? I mean, obviously, I can't tell you what to do. My message is to just be yourself, however that is, and whatever you need to do. It's like some people are in situations that they can never have that change.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel for them. I can't imagine, honestly, being in that situation. I mean, like, come on, there's a lot of gay men today who can't be openly gay. I mean, that's like a horrible, horrible thing to live that lie of a life. I mean, it's torturous. It has to be totally torturous.
Yeah, I think it is torturous.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that people find a lot of pleasure in the one weekend that they get a year.
Oh my God, these women were going correct. They were party animals. I was like, whoa. They were like partying 24/7. Every time I come down for like breakfast or whatever, there they were still. I'm like, wow. But it's their only time.
Yeah.
That's the only time that they can put their dress on and their wig on and their high heel shoes and party it up and be, Sally. They have to go home and
so
be
do
Jim.
a lot of these women identify as lesbian, identify as
Yeah,
male,
I
as
think all of it, all the above, I think.
Yeah, and they're all just kind of going through their own little thing.
Their
that they're
own
all,
way to deal with it. I met
Yeah.
a woman there who works in the corporate world, and she told me, she's like, she got divorced, but she, takes care of her 16-year-old son, and he would just die if he knew about her, and it would
And he
ruin his whole
probably
life.
wouldn't.
And he's the leader of the Boy Scout troop.
Well, good.
Right? And he does all these amazing things, and he can't do that. He can't come out as, as Sally. It would wreck his life. It would wreck his son's life. It would wreck just everything. So when he decides to do it after he leaves the corporate world, he's going to move to another state or somewhere and just become himself.
And and at some point you do have a responsibility to
Yes.
take care of the people that you
Yes.
said you would take care of.
I agree with that totally.
And so
Yes.
there is a time and a place that
Yes.
is appropriate,
Mhm.
and and that's us being a little bit politically correct.
I guess I'm far from politically correct. I'm known for not being politically. I'm known for not being around the word. I call them the word police
The
now.
word police. What are your biggest offenses besides training?
Oh, there's a new one I have to tell you about. So I
Yay,
actually
new
opened
ones.
a website called BuckAngelDating.com, and it's a dating website for trans men and people who are into them, and blah blah blah. And so I got interviewed by a bunch of major newspapers and media stuff. And so Salon.com interviewed me, and in the interview I talked about disclosure, because I'm big on disclosure, whatever disclosure that is. If you're a man who has HIV or a woman who has HIV and you're going to go have sex with someone, you need to disclose that you have HIV.
Do you
very
need to
big on-
disclose that you have a vagina?
So, I'm very big on disclosing that I have a vagina. And like I told you earlier, even back in the day, 20 years ago when I meet other men, I always tell them I have a vagina. If you still want to have sex with me, let's do it. Because it's important. It's disrespectful to you, and it's disrespectful to me not to be open about my situation. You're expecting a big dick. I know you are. So I don't whip out the big one, right? It's going to be a bad situation. So I had said, for example, trans women who don't disclose when they're going to go home with a guy and they get hurt or
Or beat
killed
up.
is horrible. This
It
is
is.
exactly what I said. Somehow, some of those people twisted it and said, Buck Angel said, if you don't disclose, you deserve to get killed. Okay, Every single person I've had read that has said, "What?" The agenda and the word police, and me being a target of hate within my own community is exactly what that is: hate and envy. And I was actually very hurt by that, because that is not what I said, and it just goes so far from who I am. And the fact that they wouldn't even, I even apologized. Even though I don't feel I said anything bad, I apologize in the sense that I said, I apologize if this was something that was misread. That is never my intention. I explained it, and they said my apology wasn't good enough.
Oh, you're kidding.
So I was like, okay, that's it. I
So-
can't. I
and
gotta
really,
remove
so
myself.
they
were
just-
not. They will never. So now the thing is, Buck Angel is a trans misogynist. That's the new word that I am. I'm like, wow, what'll be next? I'm waiting for the next one. It's, yeah, it just, I'm going to be honest with you, it did hurt my feelings, because I have 100 million trans women friends who are mine, and I'm far from that. That is not what I do. That is not my message. And they just twisted my words and were so mean and angry about it. And you can read the article. It doesn't even say that. And it's just, what do you do in that situation, What
Yeah,
do you do?
and at some point you just really just have to move on.
I had to. Yeah.
Especially if they
Yeah.
are not going to, if they're not even willing to hear your side.
Yes, and I think a lot of it came, and if I wasn't, okay, I wouldn't even be talking about it right now if I was trying to hide it or anything like that. I'm not.
Right.
Let's talk about it. But the thing is this, it's like, I also feel like the people who really targeted me are possibly the people who don't disclose. And it hit home with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, who are you to tell us that we should disclose? Well, you know what? I'm telling you to take pride in yourself. Because it's about taking pride in yourself and saying, I'm a trans person right now, and this is going to be the situation. And I mean it only in a sexual context. I don't mean it if we're going to go have coffee. I mean it in a sexual
so
context.
why bother if
Why
we're just
bother?
gonna have coffee?
Many people out there in the world don't know that I'm a transsexual man. And why should they know? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's about, the whole article and everything was about sex. That was all it was about. And take pride in yourself.
I have a lot of girls who are trans women who I find it really odd, but where men will come to the bar, see them in the show, take them home, and then are surprised that they're not.
Yeah.
They do not
That's
have a vagina.
That's not.
And they get all mad about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And has that happened with you?
No, it's not possible to happen with me because I'm open about it. It would never happen with me. It would always be.
But I think in some instances, especially for the female illusion show.
Yes. Well, how could they not know?
Right, exactly.
I don't believe that.
At
I
some
think it's
point,
them.
I think the disclosure has to. The disclosure kind of is. Well, wait a minute. You're
You're
watching
watching
a
a show-
bar
yeah.
that I'm a female illusionist in,
No.
and so isn't
No.
some of that you just wanting to kid yourself?
Yes, it
And-
clearly is.
And now you feel guilty about it.
It clearly is. But I'm wondering on the other side, so did, that woman go home with that guy assuming that he already knew about her? Right.
Yeah.
Because he's in a female.
Well, you're in a gay bar
Right.
at the female illusion show, and she's
No,
in
totally,
it.
totally.
And she's in it.
Totally. But there's, for me, there is no trans man bar. You know what I mean? So if I go to the gay bar, I'm in a gay bar. They're assuming I'm a gay man, which, is fine, but I'm not a gay man with a penis. You know what I mean? And I know that, but they clearly don't know that. So I'm not putting myself in a position to go and have sex with somebody and they don't know about me. For me, that's incredibly uncomfortable. It's just not going to be okay. And it's also rude to you. I believe it is, because you're expecting something else and you're getting something else. It's like, I'm not saying I should be killed for it. I'm just saying it's,
Yeah,
a
I
very
get
bad
it.
situation to put yourself in.
And I think that the situation has to be, delicate.
It is a really difficult situation. I think because I'm so not in the norm of most people, not even just trans people, but most people, I'm so open about who I am. I go to gyms all over the world. I walk naked in the men's gym all the time with my flip-flops, like doo-doo-doo, just like everybody else. And you know what? I would say 100% of the time, nobody ever says anything to me, other than if we're sitting in the sauna and they're polite about it. They're like, so, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it's a vagina. Just like totally cool about it. I'm telling you, it's all in your attitude and the way that you present yourself. And I present myself with total pride, and this is who I am. If you don't like it, don't look at it.
And really, that is the thing that I'm most impressed about, is
Thank you.
just how confident you are as a trans man with a vagina, and your tattoos, and I mean, and you know, you're a ginger.
I am totally a ginger. Oh my god. I'm totally a ginger.
I mean, but everything, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and I know how out of the norm I am. It took me many years to get that. I'm not going to let people take this away from me, and in fact, I'm going to share it with people. And in fact, I want you to have what I have. I want to share what I have. Somehow, I've been enlightened. I cannot tell you how I've been enlightened, but I have been enlightened, and it's sort of like I feel like I've been touched by something that I should be dead. I tried to commit suicide. I was a drug addict. I was slung out. I was homeless. I should not be sitting here. So there is a reason I've been seriously touched with something that I'm supposed to share that with everybody so that they can have that too. Maybe it's the Mormon alien.
Maybe it is. Maybe. So let's talk about It Gets Better and your It Gets Better video, your campaign, if you will. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It is, and it's so
heartbreaking for
surprising.
me.
It's so surprising because you're such a
butch dude.
a butch ginger that when you watch the It Gets Better and you start to cry, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so where are all these tears?
Yeah, when I did it, when I talked to Dan, and then I did it, and then so I did it, right, and I just was gonna be me, how I am here, right, and then, I don't know, it was one of those days, I don't really know, maybe it was a low hormone day, right, and I started talking about it, and I started fucking bawling, right, I'm like,
The whole thing.
so I just did it, and I just did it, pretty much, and then I just did it, and then I looked at it, and I was just like, I'm not putting this up, there's no way I'm putting this up, it'll ruin my image.
You're right, baby.
Totally. I was like, oh my god. So
Buck
I
Angel was really a woman.
a big baby. And then I sat with myself in my office, at my own private office at home, and no one's there. And I just sat with myself, and I just said, it's not for me. This is not my campaign. This is for the kids who felt like I did, and almost killed myself, and the kids who are killing themselves. It just like came to me, and then I just pressed send. Do you know what I mean? I just pressed send to Dan. Not even 2 minutes did Dan write me back. He's like, Buck, amazing, and then like he put it up like instantly.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was it. There was nothing I could do about it, and it went crazy. And everyone, like yourself, thank you, has said the exact same. Like they just like, wow, it was really. And then since then, and I knew I had to separate my pornography from my from that because I wanted kids to be able to write me, and they can't write me at my porno stuff because it's just not appropriate. So I, made this whole email that they could send stuff to, and I just got bombarded with kids' emails. Was like, thank you, God. I get to talk to these kids, and they get to feel empowered by me. It's like,
Absolutely.
I feel like that right now. I can't believe you're saying this. You're giving me hope. Okay. Even if only one kid, but it wasn't, it's been hundreds, said that to me, that was it. I did my job. I did my job right there. So it was really like, at first I was like, that's not me. I'm not crying like that.
Yeah.
And then I realized, it's not even about me.
Yeah,
Not even.
it's not. It really is about
Not
them.
even. Yeah.
Do you feel like a mentor?
Yeah, I didn't before, and I would tell you that I'm not, and I don't want to be that, but clearly I am, and I think it's awesome, and it's an honor. It's a huge honor for me to be able to sort of be there from ages 15 or so, hopefully, not any younger than that, to, I get, 50-year-old people, guys writing me and saying, God, you know what? You give me hope. I can become who I want to be. I never in a million years would think that. Ever, 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 ever.
I've embraced it.
Yeah.
I've embraced it. I mean,
that's awesome.
I've been in this community for 22, 25 years.
Right.
And, I have 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and 20-year-olds, and 25-year-olds, and sometimes 40-year-olds who just now, are coming out, who really need a helping hand.
It's so amazing that you're doing that, and it's like there's a reason that you're doing that. You have to do that.
Yeah.
It's like whether or not you like it, it's sort of like you have to do that. It's just, it's part of who you are, and you've been blessed to be able to do that, like it is. It's a big, I don't know if you feel like it's a big chore or if it's a burden. I don't feel that way. I just feel like,
I used to.
Yeah.
There were times that I thought, oh my God, if if one more child comes to me and tells me he
Right.
has HIV,
I know.
I
Oh.
am just going to slit my own wrist.
Right.
Because why aren't they getting the messages? And why aren't they getting the information? And for me as a gay man,
Right.
my really my mentorship is becoming the man you're supposed to be.
Right.
Even if that man is a woman.
Right.
And
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, and to give them a little bit of guidance
Mm-hmm.
on making sure, one, that every time you have sex, it's safe sex.
Right. Oh, thank you. Thank
and
you.
it's-
Thank you.
it's-
That's like my biggest thing in the world. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's
Huge.
imperative that our young people stop dying. It's imperative. And we have a whole generation of men from probably about 35 to 50 who are missing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I'm
I'm
not.
50 years old. I lost almost every single one of my friends
Yeah.
to AIDS.
Yeah, me too. I'm 46.
Yeah. We remember.
Yes.
It's kind of sad. These people, these younger generation, they just have this other, they don't know. They
Yeah.
didn't lose all their friends. They didn't go through that whole horrible, terrible, it was like apocalyptic. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like, what the hell is going on?
And
They're
the
dropping like
schools
flies.
aren't allowed to give them the information about
It's a shame.
about safe sex.
It's a shame. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wrong. It's wrong. And they don't do that in other parts of the world, by the way. It's America shut down around porn, sex, anything that has to do with your body. Shame, shame, shame. Everything is shame-based.
Yes, it is.
Or shame-based.
And guilt-based
Based,
and religious-based.
It's unbelievable.
It
It's
is.
totally unbelievable. It's an agenda or something, I think. You know, I'm kind of a conspiracy kind of guy myself. But, you know, it's all like this thing that they have they're planning something. There's something there. Why do they want us not to know safe sex? Why do they want us to have HIV? Oh, I think also
Why do
it
they
has
want
a
us
lot
to have
do with-
children at 15?
Right. It has to do with pharmaceutical companies and money and corporations and, you know, there's
Jesus.
and Jesus and the alien. Alien.
The alien. How did you meet your wife?
The internet on a very, very
Really?
specific website 10 years ago. She was looking for a play partner, and so was I. I was only playing with men at the time, and I kind of wanted some female energy, and we went on a very specific, like, there was 100 members maybe, and I'd never been on, like, a dating site in my life. It was for F2M looking for play partners or relationships, and she went on the same time I did. How weird is that? And she'd never been on a website like that. Literally, within 1 hour of us both going on
Really?
it, 1
Wow.
hour. I emailed her. She was like, holy crap, I was just looking at your profile. And within a week, I had gone to New Orleans, and where she lived and worked. She's actually a very well-known body piercer. And I went to New Orleans, and we just hit it off, and I extended my stay for another week or two. And, oh, God, it's so embarrassing, kind of. Within like a month or two, I sold my house in L.A. and moved to New Orleans with the U-Haul.
Wow, how lesbian of you.
I didn't say it. I'm not going to get ripped for that one.
Well, I can't.
He
I'm
said
ready.
it. He said it.
I'm ready because I know a lot of lesbians. They meet on Tuesday and
Yes,
on
they
Wednesday.
do.
On Wednesday they live together, and on Thursday they have children.
It's all good.
And really, I celebrate.
Right.
You know what? Have at it. I want you to move in together, and I want you to love.
Yeah,
and
no,
really,
I'm
really is
very
about love.
lucky. I'm very lucky. She's amazing. We have the most amazing. You know, if she was a man, I would have done it. It's not because she's a woman or anything. It's her. It's her energy. We were meant to be with each other. We have all the same friends. We never met each other. We went to the same high school. We went to the same college.
You're
We
kidding.
went to the same. Yeah, everything.
And so your world has just been rotating around each other.
Clearly.
But you've just never really...
I wasn't changed. I didn't change to a man yet. So I think she was waiting for me to change to a man. And we wouldn't have probably been able to do that because I was in turmoil before I became a man.
Yeah.
So I was not focused. I was not the person you see sitting here.
Yeah, and your life was really kind of crazy. You were a crack addict.
Total
weren't
crack
you?
addict. Oh God,
Yeah.
it was horrible. Yeah, yeah. I just saw a crack addict the other day here, like CVS. Oh,
And
it
did you
freaked-
see yourself?
In a way, I did. I got teary-eyed because I was like, "There's nothing you can do."
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can't do.
She was so, or it was a he, but he was very feminine. I don't know, but I'm calling him a she because the energy for me was she, and it was just so far gone. I was like, I can't even give her money. I can't even give her a look in her eyes. I can't give her nothing. And I was like, wow, that's me, 20-something years ago. But it's always, like, I believe that was put in front of my face. Just a little reminder
Yeah.
where you came from, where you came from.
And so, what is your life like now? Are you alcohol, drug
Yeah,
free?
I'm 20 years. I think 20. I lost count at this point. Years sober. Yeah, yep. No alcohol, no drugs. No, I'm totally focused. And it's not that I don't really feel like I am an alcoholic. Though I think a lot of people will say you're in denial. The thing for me, it was about my gender. I was drinking and using drugs to dumb
Yeah.
myself down and
Yeah, to
not
dilute-
feel
to
totally,
dilute the anxiety of-
clearly.
yeah.
Clearly, because I feel like I could totally drink a beer or snort a line. Just kidding. Smoke a bowl.
That's after the show.
That's after the show, like, woo!
I'm gonna give you the tour of the bedroom later. you might need it if I get naked. How did you overcome all of that addiction?
How did I overcome it?
Yeah.
I was literally in the gutter on the streets after I had done a trick. I was doing a little prostitution, and
Yay! I love prostitution.
but not in a good way. It's like
Yeah.
total desperate prostitution stuff. And then I
With
just
predominantly men.
yes, I did it as like a boy. They picked me up like as a boy. I would mostly do jack off scenes. That was it. It was just a horrible situation. And then I ended up calling an ex-girlfriend who I somehow had her number, and she said, "I will never speak to you again, and this is the last time you're allowed to call me unless I come and get you, and I can take you into a rehab." And I said, "Yeah," and I've been sober ever since. So in a way, she saved my life.
Yeah, she's your
basically.
angel.
Yeah, and but she has an issue with me today. I know she's seen me around and that, but she can't talk to me. I think the change freaked her out a lot. For some reason, it's about her. I don't really know why. But anyway, so yeah, I got into rehab, and it was like I never looked back, and that's where I started kind of coming into understanding that I'm really a guy, and that's where all my issues. I mean, Alcoholics Anonymous saved my life for sure. I'm a big fan of that program. But I had to remove myself from the program after a while because I felt like I had to kind of go back into society. And a lot of times in AA, they tend to kind of keep you there and make you feel like if you go out around people who drink,
Right.
you will slip. But I
Yeah.
never have. And I never will because I realized what my issues were. And I think that's the one thing a lot of times that's missing in those programs is they don't tend to sort of want to, like you're a baby bird and you fix the baby bird up and you feed it and you get it healthy and you let it go.
Let it go. Let it fly.
And they don't, a lot of times, not specifically AA, but a lot of the rehabilitation programs don't prepare you for the real world. You know what I mean? And sobriety has been huge in my life, and but it's not something I talk. It's like, oh, I'm sober and that. No, it's part of my life, but it's not the only thing in my life now. It's
Yeah.
it just. I'm not saying you can drink and use. It's not a problem for me at all. But for me, I stay clean because I feel I'm more focused that way.
Yeah. What are the favorite things in your life?
Working out. I love working out, and I stopped. Kind of changed my working out. I used to be really hardcore gym rat, but I stopped doing that. I wanted to become more athletically healthy in a way because I travel so much. I can't always go to the gym, and I got obsessed with it in a kind of yucky way. So really love fitness. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love healthy eating. Love talking about that. Love reading. I really started to become into reading, like fiction stuff, and dancing. I really love dancing when I don't have. I mean, I'll dance all night, drug free, on the Red Bull. I guess that's kind of a drug.
It's legal.
I love to dance, and I love to go. I travel again, like all over the world, and meet lots of amazing, DJs, and get invited to amazing clubs to go to. And
How do you perform when you get paid to?
Yeah.
What do
like my live acts. I
Yes.
do live sex acts, which basically what I do is like a kind of strip tease, but I have like my penis, which looks real, and a lot of people don't know about me in a lot of venues that they hire me on, which is really cool. And so I'll do a total man strip, outfit, like maybe a boxing outfit, and just do like a whole thing and strip all the way down to my dick, and then like basically like they don't even know. And then what I do at the last moment is I pull it off. It's so amazing. I pull it off and I penetrate myself with it.
Yeah.
It's so like it blows people's minds.
I want to see it. Where
Yeah, I'll send you one of my shows.
Where can we see it live next?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Of course.
Of course.
I just got back from Berlin.
Oh, great! I'll be in Berlin next month too. Yeah.
And it was really quite interesting. The Germans are very
They
serious.
probably love you.
Pardon?
Do they love you? I think they love you there. You
Um,
seem like you would do really well in Berlin.
I wasn't there long enough.
Oh, okay.
And that was really my biggest problem with the trip is really I only ended up being there for 4 days.
Oh, yeah, that's
And then I
not
was
long
like,
enough.
oh my God, I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's
I
too
just
bad.
kind of got the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to going
Yeah,
going
sure.
back.
Awesome.
Your wife?
Yeah.
How long have you been together?
Elaine Angel and I have been together for 10 years. She wrote the Piercing Bible, and she's, pretty amazing. And she's very well known for female genital piercing. So the cool thing is she's so popular, she can book any place, and then I can find a place to. So we can work together now. We just travel all around the world together. We have a really amazing life. We live in Mexico. We adopt dogs. We have 7 dogs right now. We just have like such amazing life. Sometimes we're just like, is this our life?
And you look around and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
I am the luckiest boy
No,
around.
seriously.
really-
we know that
that's
we
really
have a
excellent.
huge amount of gratitude. We don't just. I don't think that we just take. I think that we really know what we have, and we share that, and we have a lot of gratitude for what we have.
Well, it really comes across, even just on the
Thank you.
internet. Even just if anyone is interested and they're watching you, it really comes across.
Thank you.
I mean, you look really happy,
Yeah.
and you look really thankful,
Thank you. Thank you.
and that's what impresses me the most. And I
Thank you.
really appreciate you being here today.
No, it's awesome. Thanks for having me.
You're here in Dallas for the
Beyond Vanilla.
You're the keynote speaker. Is that
yes.
tonight?
That's tomorrow night. I'm the keynote speaker. Yeah.
Tomorrow night, the keynote speaker
Sorry,
at
it's sold out.
the Crown Plaza, downtown Dallas. I'm sure that someone's got tickets.
I don't know.
It is sold out. How does that feel?
They're like, well, I'm so happy that I could sell it out for them, and it's the first time that they've ever sold their keynote speaker out, and they're so happy. They're just like, oh my God, Buck, thank you. And it's like I said, they give to I forgot the organization here in Dallas, but it deals with gay and lesbian youth.
Yeah,
and
Youth First Texas.
Yes, and they do a lot of stuff like that, and that's
They do.
really dear to my heart, and I really like. So that's super awesome. That they do that kind of stuff. That's super.
Welcome to Dallas. Have a great time
Thank
while
you.
you're here. I really appreciate you stopping in today.
Thanks.
Buck Angel, you can follow him on Twitter at Buck Angel. We want to thank you for tuning in to Just Keep Breathing. I am Richard Curtin. Once again, Buck Angel, thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
I really, really, really appreciate you being here. I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.